that? Is my life filled with bitter, envy, jealousy, boasting, lying? And then he says, if you have wisdom from above, it's first pure, peaceable. So you're going to have these other boxes to check and say, okay, does my life match up? Or is my life pure, peaceable, and so on and so forth? But before we start checking boxes and making sure our life matches up to godly wisdom, we've got to define our terms. What is wisdom? What is good, godly, solid, biblical wisdom? This is a good working definition. You can jot this down. Wisdom, good, godly, solid, biblical wisdom, is the art of skillful living. It's the art of skillful living. You can learn all kinds of skills, right? You can learn construction skills, mechanic skills, break dancing skills, right? Like nunchuck skills. A little Napoleon Dynamite reference, anyone? Right? Nunchuck tater tots. But specifically, wisdom is the skill for living life in a way that God wants you to. Godly wisdom is living life the way that God wants you to. And so wisdom is different. It's different than knowledge. It's different than all these things. And good, godly, biblical wisdom always starts with God. Always starts with Proverbs 9:10 says this: the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Biblical wisdom always starts with God. It doesn't start with a degree. It doesn't start with an education. It doesn't start with it starts first and foremost with God. So how do we make a distinction between wisdom and its cousins? All right, its cousins are knowledge, understanding, and discernment. Knowledge, understanding, and discernment. What's the distinction? Well, here's this. Knowledge is this. Knowledge comes from the ability to see, to hear, and to ascertain through experience. Knowledge resides in the intellect. It's up here, right? Knowledge is up here. So the way that I would look at it is you experience certain things and now you know, right? So when you're growing up as a kid, you gained through experience to not touch the stove, right? Like through experience you learn not to touch the stove, and if you touch the stove, you will be burned. I'm raising my kids and it's always like, stay away from the stove, stay away from the stove, stay away from the stove. And there finally comes a point where it's like, I can tell them all they want. They're never going to know it until they finally touch it. So it's like free access. There you go. Just touch it. Why? Because the moment they touch it, I'm not that mean of a dad, but the moment they touch it, they know not to ever touch it again, right? Like I learned through experience to never ever stick a butter knife in an outlet. I learned that through experience. I now have the knowledge, right? It's something you don't do. And here's the interesting thing is you can see people that have a lot of knowledge, but their lives are still a wreck. I think, for example, one of the most famous, Albert Einstein. Brilliant, right? Albert Einstein. E equals MC squared. I have not the slightest idea what it means, but I'm sure it's amazing. You know what I mean? Brilliant guy, always forgot to eat lunch. You're like, wait a sec. He's amazingly smart, but he always forgot to eat lunch. I never forget to eat lunch. Actually, I probably should skip some lunches. You know what I mean? Like who forgets to eat lunch? But you've got guys that are brilliant. Their desks are a mess. They're crazy and like mad scientists, but they're so smart, but yet they forget to eat lunch, you know? They have a lot of knowledge. Understanding is kind of a deeper form of knowledge. Understanding is insight into the nature of things. It's a deeper form of knowledge. It's kind of the thought line that like I know that a car needs oil and gas, but I don't understand why a car needs oil and gas. You know, I'm not
exercise some judgment, and then pursue a course of action. You can jot these down. I just kind of make the distinction between the two. Knowledge is knowing the truth. Wisdom is knowing what to do with the